What's up, comic book fans? And welcome to Comics Icons. Now, JJ, what they call me. And today, we got more Spider-Man. This time with the Amazing Spider-Man issue number 62, and the second in the 8 Deaths of Spider-Man story arc. And if you guys missed the first issue of this story arc, issue number 61 of the series, then I put a link up at the top of the screen for you, and a card at the end of the video also. But when we left off with this series, Spider-Man had experienced a gruesome and painful death in defeating one of the children of Cyberioc during a trial of sorts as Earth's champion, a role that was placed on him by the new Sorcerer Supreme, Dr. Doom. But in addition to Spidey's new magical suit gifted to him by Doom, he was also given 8 reeds of Ragador that would bring Spider-Man back from the eternal sleep 8 times, one for each of Cyberioc's children and warriors. So if you guys are ready to experience Spidey's second magical battle for control of the Earth, then you guys know what time it is. Let's get it. So when we kick off this issue, Spider-Man along with the astral form of Doctor Strange are breaking into the Sanctum Sanctorum. And the reason he has to break in is because while Strange's astral form is here, as soon as his physical form lost the title Sorcerer Supreme, he put the Sanctum Sanctorum in magical lockdown. And since his physical form isn't here, and his astral form is useless in terms of helping with that part, well, they gotta break in the old-fashioned way and avoid his magical security system. Meanwhile, we find out that they've got the Cat Burglar Supreme, aka Black Cat, Felicia Hardy, with them, as she taunts them for being terrible thieves. But they find what they're looking for in the form of a magical spell book, and then they break back out of the sanctum. And then afterwards, they find a safe place to read the book. And after a quick scan of the table of contents, Spider-Man starts to feel like he's in over his head with this magical book, while Black Cat mocks him for overstating the obvious, and is pretty sure that he's gonna die and questions why he has to face this burden alone. But Strange tells her that once Earth's champion is named, they gotta fulfill the covenant. And if Strange were to step in and help directly, it will violate the pact. But Spidey does have the reeds, so no need to worry, he tells Black Cat. He just doesn't want to have to use them again. But then as Black Cat gets ready to leave, she kind of flirts a little bit with Spidey, who fumbles the exchange on that one, causing Doctor Strange to tell him how terrible he is with women. And Spidey jokes that he hadn't been bitten by a radioactive Romeo. But now that Black Cat is gone, Spider-Man asks Strange if he'll tell him how to win now. But Strange admits to him that there is no winning. Cyberioc knew Strange was desperate to cast that casket, so he rigged the game in his favor. And although Strange rigged it back with the reeds, he's never used less than 8. Meanwhile, we see Cyberioc's children as they plot and argue over taking over the Earth in their father's name. Some argue that this covenant is nothing more than a sham game for the children to keep them distracted. So here we see that not all Cyberioc's children are fully on one accord, as some of them just want to be free from their father and consider this an imprisonment. Meanwhile, we pick back up with Peter as he's smashing a slice of pizza while levitating the spell book as he studies it, while at the same time seeking advice from Norman Osborn, who just so happened to stop by to speak with Peter Parker. But Norman doesn't believe in magic, so he's got no advice for Peter, even though Peter was just using magic to levitate the book right in front of Norman. See, the real reason Norman is here is to tell Peter that he's shutting down Oscorp effective immediately, and he wanted to come by and tell Peter personally before he hit the press. But Oscorp represents so many of Norman's mistakes and pain, and he's more interested in exploring his new lease on life with a fresh start. Although hearing of Peter's troubles causes Norman to worry, as even a temporary death is still a bummer. Although they don't get much more time to get into it, as Peter realizes he's late to meet up with Aunt May at Feast. So they quickly wrap things up and head out, but as Peter opens the door, he's then teleported to a baseball field as he's met with his next Covenant challenge in the form of Cyberion, another scion of Cyberioc, who tells Spider-Man that if he can strike him once, then he's conquered. Fail, and the realm falls. And since Peter's running late for his thing with Aunt May, he's got no time for this. So he jumps in and attempts to quickly strike Cyberion. But Cyberion's weapon has teleportation ability, so all Spider-Man's attacks just get sent right back to him. Even magic follows rules and laws. Figure out the rules, break down the problem via those rules, and win, Spider-Man thinks. Cyberion brought him to City Field, a wide open space for him to slice with his magic scythe. But Spider-Man quickly finds out the hard way that this scythe isn't what does the teleporting. It's just a weapon. And Cyberion has the power to teleport without it, as he boasts to Spider-Man that infinite space is his playground, and that Spider-Man will never be able to touch him, as there's always an infinitely divisible space between them, as well as infinite spaces to which he can banish Spider-Man in whole or in part. And as Cyberion splits Spider-Man between different corners of the universe, his magic studying pays off as he's able to unleash a thread spell that keeps him tethered to Cyberion, so he can no longer teleport without taking Spider-Man with. Then Spider-Man unleashes a cage spell that traps the two in a much smaller space. But this is a spell that Strange has used on Cyberion before, so he's not surprised by it. And then he mocks Spider-Man, saying that humans have such limited understanding of space and its infinite dimensions, as he shrinks himself down to the size of an atom. But as he does this, it actually plays right into Spider-Man's hands, because he keeps insisting Cyberion go smaller and smaller. See, he knew the dome wouldn't work. Strange told him so when he briefed Peter on the Scions. He also told him that Cyberion doesn't think about the nature of his power half as much as Peter thinks about theoretical physics. And there's a model of space-time that suggests that if you got in a spaceship and flew straight, you would eventually come back to the same location. It would take an infinite amount of time, but you get there. So Peter's always thought the same would be true with scale. Go in one direction, enlarging, or in their case, shrinking, you'd eventually come back around to the size that you started at. So in doing so, Spider-Man is able to shrink down so much that he turns big en route to coming back to his normal size. So in doing so, Spider-Man is able to touch the entire Earth, as they've shrunk so low that they've kind of begun to reset their size, I guess. See, I'm not a physicist, so I'm just gonna rock with what they said here. But when he touches the Earth, he finally is able to strike Cyberion and win this battle. But he also takes himself out in the process. And yes, he thinks, it hurts. Cause of death: instantaneous dissolution of your atoms through an infinitely recursive fold of space. And then Spidey is once again greeted by Phil Coulson, who tells him to hang in there. And then as we pick up with Peter as he's out with his friends and just completely zoned out, thinking about everything that he's dealing with right now, his friends notice how distant he is. But as he tries to apologize for spacing out, his spider sense goes off as he's approached by the next Scion looking for her turn to play. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the issue. So what did you guys think about the issue and this 8 deaths story arc so far? Are you guys feeling a new writer for the series, Joe Kelly? And how do you see this ending for old Spidey? You guys know I want to hear all your thoughts and theories down in the comments. And as always, if you guys enjoyed this video and this channel, and you'd like to support the channel, then you can do so by stopping by the Comics Icons store and picking up some Comics Icons merchandise, including the background music heard right here in this video available for download, or by joining the Iconic Fan Club channel membership. And there'll be a link in the description to join. But with your membership, you'll get loyalty badges, member shoutouts, and up to 20% off of Comics Icons merchandise from the Comics Icons store. And even the chance to put in your own video requests for me to post. Plus, we've got tiers to the memberships as well, beginning at just 99 cents. Or you guys could donate to the channel with a super thanks. And if you're not able to do any of that, then you can still help out this channel's future tremendously by dropping a like, share, and subscribe in the Comics Icons for more icons in the comic book world. But ladies and gentlemen, it's about that time. I'm out. Peace.